masks on, they've all been trained. It's obviously there's disease around, and the blooming bus drivers are just the normal people that used to drive you to exhibitions at the National Gallery when you were at school. 0345 60 says Pam, knowing about this disease. There are no experts. It's a brand new disease and nobody knows much about it. Nonsense, Pam. We're told this virus has come from eating an infected animal, says Susan. There's one lesson here. Don't eat animals. Maybe, says this texter here, we should be buying ourselves a tent, taking ourselves off to a remote location and start living off the land in an attempt to keep the John Doe name tag off our big toes. I honestly don't think it's got that bad yet, everybody. Calmez-vous. Here's Graham in Bradford. Hello, Graham. How are you?
Oh, hello, Ian. Well, I'm all right at the moment, but I have COPD, chronic COPD, and I've got 80% lung loss. And if I were to get this virus, it would probably kill me and kill everyone else who's got a similar condition to me.
Yeah.
The fatality in China, they've said the fatality rate is between 1 and 2%.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound very much, but if you think of the population of Britain, if 50% of the people were to get it, and that's what they say how it spreads, is so virulent, that'd be 600,000 people who would die. So
Yeah.
it is very serious, and that's worldwide. If just 1 or 2% of the worldwide population were to die, I mean, it'd be over 1 billion people. So it's very, very frightening,
Do you
really.
think that the way that Public Health England particularly are dealing with this is the right way to deal with it, or do you think we should be even more strict?
Well, I think we need to do something about people coming back and that from those countries that are badly infected. I think there should be some more public information going about, because I've gone and got some of that bacterial gel, so when I'm in public spaces I always clean my hands and so on. And it's all about hygiene, isn't it? Not spreading the virus, washing your hands and making sure if you cough, you're coughing out a tissue and everything.
Yeah.
People have to be more mindful about what they're doing, really. You know, I've started touching lift buttons with my little fingers instead of my index finger.
Oh, Graham, really?
Well, little things like that, I'm worried about it.
Well,
You know what I mean? I'm worried about it.
No, listen, you as you say, I mean, if you have an existing condition, you have absolutely every right to be worried about this, but I don't know, I can't predict the future, but I honestly don't see this becoming a pandemic. I might be wrong, but I just don't. Stay well, Graham. Keep listening, because I know you're a regular listener. Thanks for all your texts and tweets. It's good to talk. Ian is in Chipping Camden. Are you as frightened as everyone else seems to be?
Well, I think what's worrying about this is that the existing test that, as far as I'm aware, appears to be being used is what's called a PCR test, where you're actually looking for tiny bits of the virus, rather than an antibody test, which is much cheaper and very quick. So it takes a while for a PCR test to come back, and clearly these people on the cruise ship had already tested negative. They maybe had another test just before they left the cruise ship, but they were obviously allowed to get on the plane. That's fine, they're in isolation, and so are the other people around them. But that's what worries me, is that particularly as one of your other doctors said, or specialists earlier on, if this virus gets into countries that don't even have the facilities to look for the virus in very tiny quantities, then it's going to spread much, much quicker.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I sort of looked at the world map. In fact, it was, a couple of cases in Egypt, North Africa, most of the African continent untouched by it. South America, for some reason, not a single case.
But, this could just be because they're not testing. This test that is conducted, as I say, as far as I'm aware, is still quite a complex and
Yes,
expensive
I think the thing with me that says, even if it is going undetected, even if it is spreading across the world, and unless we're just being told complete and utter rubbish, but I can't believe it's in anyone's interest to use misinformation like this. This is not a deadly disease. This is not as serious as the flu virus, People are dying of it, but the mortality rate is 1.3%.
Yeah, and it appears that when you just roughly look, the mortality rate for the general flu is 0.1%. So as one of your callers said,
I thought it was far higher than that. I thought 500,000 people died every year.
They do, but potentially the place I got that figure was from the American CDC, And I think one of your experts earlier on mentioned that this is 10 times as deadly as conventional flu. So in other words, that 0.1%. But obviously conventional flu spreads very, very easily. But I think the situation on this cruise ship seems to show that this spreads quite easily if you can't isolate people.
Yes.
So that's what concerns me, is that, if it's spreading very rapidly without the ability to test for it very easily, and on top of that you've got 1%. I mean, if you look at the figures, already more people have died from this than they have from SARS or MERS, because it's infecting more people.
Do you think some good can come out of this? Have we learned lessons, do you think?
I think the good that comes out of it is that actually China were incredibly quick to respond. I was originally due to be in China.
Were they?
About 2 weeks ago. Well, certainly they locked down cities, they built hospitals in no time. Possibly
weren't they warned about this disease with the doctor that died, back in November or several months before it suddenly became a crisis?
I mean, who knows? I'm not party to everything that goes on in China, but what I do know from visiting China before is that they have the capability of shutting down cities and knowing exactly where everybody's going and what they're doing. And that would be something that would be more difficult in other countries in the world. Yes, it is quite possible they covered it up or whatever. Those live animal markets are meant to be banned.